we are going to see how MySQL database, which is having a very simple vulnerability like username as root and password as root, and when it is put up on the public network, how hackers can access your database and dump your data out. So this is what we are going to see. Let us move on to the lab setup for our demonstration. So I have my Windows system on which I have installed Oracle VirtualBox 7, and I have Kali Linux 2024 version running on my VirtualBox. And in this I have MetaSploit framework, which is coming pre-installed with Kali Linux 2024. And here I have Ubuntu. I have installed Ubuntu 20.04 long-term support version, and I have also installed MySQL 8.0 version, and it's listening in port number 3306 for incoming connections. And both these systems are forming a network, and in VirtualBox I have configured it to use the host only adapter so that they form an isolated private network and they are able to communicate with each other. So that is the lab setup, and if you have any queries on how to set up this lab, I'll be leaving a link for the lab setup videos in the description below. Have a look at it. So I have done this. One more thing I just want to mention here is initially I was trying this entire demo with Metasploitable 2. Metasploitable 2 is a vulnerable Linux machine. It also comes with MySQL installed in it. So I was trying to use Kali Linux 2024 and carry out some of the attacks using Metasploit on Metasploitable 2. Unfortunately, I was not able to go ahead with that because of some scramble length error, which I was not able to fix. So what I did, I think it's an issue with some SSL mismatch between the systems. So I just dropped using Metasploitable 2, the vulnerable Linux machine, and I installed Ubuntu, and I went with MySQL installation inside Ubuntu, and then I carried out the attacks. It was fine. So I'm going to tell you all these steps. What is that you require, and how to carry out this attack. So what are the steps? First, we need to install MySQL on Ubuntu. So installation of Ubuntu, I have put up a video. I'll leave the link for that video lecture in the description below. You can have a look at it. So install Ubuntu, and next you need to install MySQL on Ubuntu, and we should start the MySQL service. Next thing is we should also edit the MySQL d.cnf file so that it accepts connection from remote systems, and we should create an user with username as root and password as root, and we are going to create this user with user at percentage, meaning that this user can log in from any host. So we are going to grant all privileges to this user, and finally we are going to use Metasploit in Kali Linux to perform the scans. So what kind of modules in Metasploit we are going to use is MySQL version, all our auxiliary modules in Metasploit. So already we have discussed more on Metasploit, 3 to 4 videos on Metasploit I put up. So if you're new to what is Metasploit framework, please have a look at those video lectures. Again, I'll be leaving the link for those video lectures in the description below. Just have a look at it. So now these are the modules: MySQL version, MySQL login, enumeration, running MySQL queries on a remote database, dumping the hashes of the passwords, and how we can log in from Kali Linux directly into our MySQL database. So this is what we are going to see. So we'll start with the very first step, installation of MySQL on Ubuntu, starting the MySQL service like that. So if you're going to try out this demo, I just want you to follow these steps, or else your demo is not going to work. So let me straight away go to this demo now. Here I have my Kali Linux 2024 running on my VirtualBox. So I have VirtualBox here, which has got Kali Linux and Ubuntu. Ubuntu machine is also running. So I told you, like, I tried this with Metasploitable 2, but due to some scramble length error, I was not able to fix it up. I was searching the internet all the time, not able to find a proper solution for that. If you are able to find a solution for that, please let me know, because there is some kind of an issue with Kali Linux 2024 and Metasploitable 2 when carrying out the MySQL modules on Metasploitable 2. So let us now move on. Let's open a terminal here. So let's open the terminal, and I've already installed this MySQL server. I'm just going to show you the steps which I have performed I'm not going to again execute these commands, but just tell you what are the steps. So let me zoom in a little. So this is my Ubuntu system, and you can very well see the IP address of my Ubuntu system is 192.168.56.106. And as I told you, all these virtual machines are connected to the host only adapter network. So you go to the network settings and it is host only adapter. So they form a network. And let me clear the screen. How to install MySQL server? So you can go to let me log in as root and clear screen. Now it's apt install MySQL server, SQL server. So that it's going to install the packages for your MySQL server. So we have downloaded the packages required for MySQL server. The next thing is we should be traversing to this folder that is MySQL directory, and we should be changing this MySQL d.configuration file. So this is next important step. So let's take a look at the directories here. Let's move on to MySQL .conf.d, and inside this we have this mysql d.cnf file, which we need to change mysql d.cnf. So what is that we are going to change here is we're just going to change the bind address to 0.0.0. So what is that you're going to have here is you may be looking at 127.0.0.1. So please change it to 0.0.0. So we are allowing remote connections for this database. That's the meaning. So earlier it was localhost 127.0.0.1 IP. Now it is 0.0.0. So you need to make this change so that it accepts connections from remote systems. And that's it. I've already made this change. So this is the next important change you're going to make. After making this change, what you can do is you can start the MySQL service. The command for that is systemctl and start mysql.service. So you're going to start the service, and you can also check whether the service is running using the netstat command -tnlp. So it's going to throw you the connection. So it's MySQL D service is listing in port number 3306, and this is the bind address that we are given 0.0.0. So it should not be 127.0.0.1 here. It should be 0.0.0, and it will be showing it like this only when you change the MySQL d.cnf file. So now let's log into our MySQL database. The command for that is MySQL user is root and the password is null here. So it logs us into the MySQL database. Let me clear screen. And some commands in MySQL is show databases, and you can very well see the databases. So I've already put up a lecture video on MySQL databases, how to work with the MySQL queries. If you're very new to MySQL, have a look at it. I'll be leaving the link for that video too in the description below. So we have many databases here. Let me use the MySQL database, and we can look at the various tables inside the MySQL database by just giving show tables. So these are the tables inside our MySQL database. So what is our objective here is we need to create an user. So we should create an user who is having all privileges on the database, and he can also log in remotely to this database from another machine. So how to create this user is I'll just show you a sample user. Create user Matthew. So it should be in quotes. We just give Matthew in quotes at, and we give percentage here. Percentage here means this user is allowed to log into this database remotely from any host. So if you give local host, it means you cannot remotely log into the system. So what is that you are going to do here is you're going to give percentage, and we have to give the password identified by password should also be in quotes. Say let's have a simple password is username is the password. So our user is created. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to give excessive privileges to this user. say grant all privileges, so you can delete tables, delete databases and things like that. Grant all privileges on, so it's like star dot star, it's like on everything to this user. Who is this user? It's Matthew at, and then in quotes we have to give percentage. So two mistakes we are making here. One is we are creating an user and who can log in from any host, and then we are giving excessive privileges to this user. And the second mistake is we have given public access to our database management system. It's on the public network. Let's say anybody can remotely access our database directly. So these are the misconfigurations that we do, and we also have a very simple password. Username equals the password. Say root is the username, root is the password, Matthew is the username, Matthew is the password. So these are the configurations that have gone wrong, and we'll see how MetaSploit can be used to exploit these misconfigurations. So if you are willing to carry out the demo, these steps are important. You should follow all these steps. I have spent a lot of hours actually in simulating or in coming out with this attack. So I just want you to follow these steps if you are interested in carrying out this attack on your systems, or else it's not going to work. So let's move on to Kali Linux now. Let's start a Metasploit framework. So we have many modules that can exploit MySQL database, and these things come under auxiliary modules. We are going to use the auxiliary modules in Metasploit. So let's start with this. Let me zoom in and sudo msf console. So let's start Metasploit framework, and it's going to take some time, 1 or 2 minutes. Let's wait for it. So before it starts up, let's again visit our PowerPoint presentation, and what all modules in Metasploit we are going to take a look at now. MySQL version, used for identifying the version of the MySQL database running in the remote system, and MySQL login, we'll try and log into the MySQL database. And MySQL enumeration enumerates the MySQL database, gives us a lot of information. And MySQL SQL will be running remote SQL queries. I mean, we'll be running SQL queries on the machine on the database from a remote system. And hash dump, we'll try and dump the hashed passwords for all the users from the database. And we'll also see, once when you get the passwords, how we can remotely log in from Kali Linux into the MySQL database. So this is what we are going to see. Let's check whether our MSF console started. Yes. So here we have Metasploit. Still we didn't get the prompt. Let's take a few more moments. Okay, here it is. Let me maximize the screen. Let me clear the screen. So how is that you search for a module list, search for MySQL underscore version, and we can say its type is auxiliary. So you're going to get this module. Yes, the module is available. Now we can use this module. Use 0 is the command. Yes, the module is selected. Next thing is we'll type show options. What options we need to set for this specific module? We should be setting the remote host's IP. We know what is the IP, and that's it. Let me clear screen. So set our hosts IP addresses of the victim 192.168.56.106. This is the IP address of my Ubuntu machine where my MySQL database is running. And now you just type run. That's it. See, we are able to find what is the version of MySQL. It's 8.0. It's running on Ubuntu 20.0.4. So we are able to scan the MySQL version. What is the database and what is the operating system that this database is running on. So all these things we are able to scan using this module MySQL underscore version. So that's the use of this module. And what is the next module we are going to take a look at is we are going to take a look at login. Can we remotely log into this database? So for that, let me clear screen and search for MySQL underscore login. And so here is this MySQL login module. So we'll go with use 0. And what else we can do? We can clear the screen. We can click to go on with show options. What all options we can set here? We can set a lot of options. For instance, we can set the username and password, and we can set the remote host. Remote port number is by default 3306. Let's try this. Let me set username, set ROS, set a remote host. It's always the IP address of the victim, 192.168.56.106, and set username. See, the hacker can guess the username to be root and password to be root, right? Just a guess, or password to be null. So there is an username and password root guess that he is making, and you can also go with run. That's it. So this credentials will be tested on your MySQL database. So you can very well see here brute force completed, one credential was successful. So he is able to actually log into your database remotely by guessing your simple username and password. This is really dangerous. If you have very simple username and passwords and you expose your database to the public network, definitely this is going to happen. So there are various variations to this. For instance, I can show you. You can have an entire um, file. See, we have also seen how to use MetaSploit for password cracking. So in that, I have explained the use of user file, pass file, user pass file. For instance, I will just give an example for pass file alone here. So it's like you can use a list of commonly occurring passwords to crack this login. Let me clear screen. Let me create an file here, that is sudo nano some pass for mysql.txt, and inside this file I'm going to have some passwords. For instance, test fall 2021, I love my name Satish, VIT21, and also this password. Say these are commonly occurring passwords. We also have word lists, so we can just create a file here, save this file, and that's it. Now what we can do is we can use this file. Say I'm going to set the username is root, whereas I'm going to set the pass file. Now I'll just set pass file to be our file that we created, pass mysql.txt. So it's going to take the pass file and it's going to try every password, and it'll check whether it's able to log into the MySQL database. So let's run this. Let's check whether our option is fine. So since we have already cracked this with the root and root, it's like a little fast. Let me just check set password to be null. Let's remove that password setting we had, and let's show options. So what all options we have? Password is null here. So we have this pass file, we have hosts, and everything is done. Let's clear screen. Let's again try run. Okay, so here is that thing. See, it's trying with root, and it's trying with the password. So root and test, root and fall 2021, root and Satish, root and VIT21. So root and root. So it's going to use the file. So you can use a list of commonly occurring password files, so word lists in Kali Linux, to carry out this attack. So you'll be able to log into your database using commonly occurring usernames or commonly occurring passwords by using a list of files. So I've already shown you how to carry out Metasploit attacks for password cracking on FTP login. The same pattern follows here too. I hope you're able to follow this. Let's quickly move on to the next thing, enumeration. How you can enumerate the MySQL database. So let's clear screen and back, and let's search for MySQL enumeration module, and we'll select this as usual. We'll use 0 and clear screen. And what all the options we need to set for this? We need to set the username, password, and remote host. So let's set the remote host to be 192.168.56.106 and set username. Say you can guess the username to be root and password to be null or root. So that kind of a guess he is making, and that's it. Now you can run so that you enumerate this specific database. So you can very well see here it says the following accounts have empty passwords. Root has got null password and it has got localhost access. The following accounts are not restricted by source. It means that these usernames can access from the remote host. So host is percentage. So it enumerates the database, gives us what kind of privileges what users have and what are the users and whether they can log in from localhost or from any other host, what kind of file privileges they have. It enumerates the entire database, gives you who are the users having grant privileges, who are the users having create user privileges and things like that. So enumerates the database, gives you complete information of the database. It also gives you the password hash of the users. You can see Satish host is percentage. This is the password hash for that particular user. So really dumps every data about your database out here. So this is really scary. So enumeration of your database can be done. So detailed information can be received by using MySQL underscore enumeration module. All happens because of public network access and simple password setup for your database. So that is about enumeration, very interesting. So you can also run remote SQL queries on your database using MySQL underscore SQL. Let's take a look at this thing. Let me clear screen. So back and we'll search for MySQL underscore SQL and let's select this, use 0. And what we are going to do here is we are going to show options. We are going to see what are the options we are going to set. So it's remote host password and username as usual. Let me clear screen. Set our host to be 192.168.56.106 and set username root, set password to be root, and that's it. Let's run this. That's one more thing. We have to set the SQL query that we are going to run. So set SQL. Say I'll just run this SQL query, show databases on my remote MySQL database, and that's it, run. So it's going to run the SQL query using this username and password. It will log in and run the SQL query on the remote database. So let's run this. So here we have all the databases from our MySQL database. So that's what we are seeing here, right? So okay, let me log into my Ubuntu machine just to show you that these are the databases that exist in my MySQL database. So let's okay, it's taking some time to log in. So here we have the terminal. See, when I type show databases, you can very well see information schema MySQL. So the same thing is here. So we were able to dump the databases. We can run any kind of such queries, simple queries on your databases. The next module we are going to see is hash dump. How we can hash dump the passwords. Let's clear this back. So let's again search for MySQL underscore hash dump. What is the use of this is it's pretty straightforward. It will dump your password hashes out. So let's use 0. So let's use this module and clear screen, show options. Options will be like as usual, set the remote host, username and password. Let's set the remote host, our victim's IP is 192.168.56.106 and set username to be root, set password to be root, and you can also that's it, I guess. Just going to be running this command, running the module. And here it is, you have the usernames and the password hashes for every username. So Chris is password, Satish test, So you have the password hashes dumped. Now the hacker can use tools like John the Ripper or Hashcat to break these password hashes. If it's a common password, definitely he's going to get hold of all these password hashes. So again, I put up a video on John the Ripper and Hashcat for and how it's used for breaking hashes. If you're interested in breaking these hashes, you can have a look at it. I'll be leaving the link for those videos in the description below. So let's see what all modules left. Yes, we have looked at some of the auxiliary modules that are available for exploiting MySQL database. I hope you have understood how MySQL databases can be exploited if you're going to have weak passwords and you're going to put the database on the public domain and you're going to make misconfigurations. Before ending this session, I just wanted to show you how the hacker can directly log into your database from another system if he knows your username and password, and if he gets to know the username of a user who is given access or privilege to log into the system remotely. So let's go back. Let me exit MSF console, clear screen. So let's see how the user directly logs into the MySQL database from Kali Linux. The command for this is MySQL. So I've already tried this. That's why you're able to see this. So it's MySQL, username is root. The host we are targeting is the IP address of that host. And the password we'll enter. The password is also root. So that's it. He is directly into your database now. Show databases. You can see you can very well browse anything. You can just make use of your database. So use MySQL and show tables and select host comma user from user. So he is having all the privileges on your database now. He is able to remotely log in. He can create users. He can delete tables and things like that. So that's it. That's about the practical demonstration on how you can exploit a MySQL database that has been um, exposed to the public network, and that has simple usernames and passwords, and also that has given privileges to users, excessive privileges for users, and it has allowed users to log in from remote systems directly. So that's about this demo. I hope you were able to follow this. A lot of concepts were discussed. If you have any questions, you can leave those questions as comments in the section below. I'll be answering to your comments. That's it for now. Have a great day.